Zega comes to the realization that she's done much more in Skyrim than she ever thought she would. Ransacking the Mages Guild, becoming an official member of the Thieves Guild, being suspected of murder in Riften, and even receiving a summons from a Jarl. She becomes terrified and paranoid of her newfound popularity in Skyrim. A bottom feeder like Zega is best gone unnoticed. She decides that in order to secure her safety, she needs a new face. She recalls the flesh sculptor in the Thieves Guild and decides that her first priority will be hiding her identity and ridding herself of her wretched tattoo. Welcome to another episode of the Misadventures of a Skooma Addict. We join Zega here just outside of the strange and gigantic city of Solitude. We're not going to explore that city today, though. We're only here because it's in very close proximity to the abandoned shack that Astrid left us in with a bunch of bodies and even more questions. Zega is especially put off by the ease and impunity with which the Dark Brotherhood was able to abduct her, even right under Inigo's nose, and decides that this tattoo on her face has to go.
Need a ride?
I'd like to hire your carriage.
Where do you want to go?
I would like to go to Riften.
Climb and back, and we'll be off.
I'd like to thank
Want to watch
Mrs.
yourself in Riften. A lot of ways to get yourself in trouble in that town.
Well, that's why I'm going. I'd like to thank Mrs. Candy Cane for today's suggestion. I thought it made sense that a little paranoia, maybe a little skooma paranoia, might set in at this point. Zega certainly is served better by anonymity than fame, and it makes sense to me that she would try and
They're reforming the Dawn Guard. Vampire hunters.
make use of this flesh sculptor's abilities, even if only to remove the tattoo, which Zega considers to be a beacon that makes her not only recognizable, but memorable.
That old woman who runs the orphanage has been murdered. Say, didn't I see you coming out of there?
A perfect example of why Zega is ready to be rid of this tattoo. She turns around and tells Inigo to wait for her here.
Ask me something? I will wait and watch.
But before doing that,
Yes, my friend. What is yours is mine.
she decides that she is going to borrow Inigo's ebony bow. She thinks it's
Ready?
better off in her hands than his. And from there, we're going to head down into the Ratway once again. Zega can't help but smile as she passes by the Honor Hall orphanage, hoping that the lives of the little waifs within are somewhat better because of her actions. Zega chuckles to herself at the thought of getting a surgery done in a place like this. But that's exactly what she's here for, nonetheless. She wonders if it's going to hurt. Not that she cares. She assumes it will. Before she talks to the face sculptor or face butcher, depending on who you talk to in Riften, she decides she's going to make a visit to the fence, sell some of her ill-gotten goods, and maybe fatten up that coin purse a little bit.
Welcome to the cozy little family. I'm one of the lookouts for the guild. I watch Delvin's back.
What do you give me for these?
I've got coin and I've got merchandise. Let's see what we can do.
Okay. Sell this amulet, or this amethyst, ancient Nord bow. Just gonna sell a bunch of stuff that I'm no longer gonna need. I know we spent a lot of money on this dwarven bow, but it's gonna go. It's flawless garnet, gold diamond necklace. Oh, she only has 401 golds. Oh, I'll take 400 for it. For a friend. Zega, having fenced her wares,
Speak
decides to
quickly.
talk to Galithil, the face sculptor.
Need something?
I understand you know how to change someone's appearance.
Change it. I can remake your face, if that's what you desire. I do not practice my art for free, however. I doubt you can afford my services. You have the smell of the vagabond about you.
Zega is very put off by that comment, but decides to give her the 1,000 gold anyway.
Very well. Just tell me what you desire. Beauty or hideous deformity. Nothing is beyond my skill.
Zega asks the woman if she would be capable of just removing the tattoo on her face. The old woman chuckles and says, "Of course I can. It'll be painful, though." Zega shrugs her shoulders. The old woman asks again, "Would you like me to take care of some of the more prominent scars that you have while I'm at it?" Zega shakes her head no. She's earned every one of those scars. She deserves every one. And she'll be damned if she's going to let this old woman take them from her. After an agonizing surgery that felt like it took forever, Zega stumbles away, no longer wearing the tattoo on her face. She immediately reaches into her bag and downs a hit of leaf skooma to numb the pain. Feeling almost immediately better, she decides to talk to Brynjolf about that job that she took on ages ago. She wonders if he'll be angry.
All eyes are on you, lass. Don't disappoint us.
I need more details about Golden Glow.
Golden Glow Estate brought in a mountain of gold for the guild. You could almost call it our sweetest deal. Then out of the clear blue, Arengoth stopped sending us our cut. Mercer was, well, angry to put it kindly. So we send in Vex and find out he's hired a bunch of mercenaries to guard the place.
Mercenaries, not Riften guards?
Aye. Arengoth sent the city guard packing and fortified the entire island. In fact, Vex barely made it out of there alive. You should talk to her about it before you go.
I think I will.
You watch yourself on that island. Those mercenaries don't take prisoners.
Before we begin, I want to make two things perfectly clear. One, I'm the best infiltrator this rat hole of a guild's got. So if you think you're here to replace me, you're dead wrong. And two, you follow my lead and do exactly as I say. No questions, no excuses. Then we understand each other. Good. Now, it's time to get your feet wet. And I don't want to waste a lot of time talking about anything but business.
What sort of business?
I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. We're in a bad way down here.
Any idea why?
Who knows? Old Delvin thinks it's some kind of curse. I think he's crazy. If you want my opinion, I'd say it's just plain old bad luck.
Sounds like an excuse to Zega. So what can we do?
You can get out there and start making a name for us again. Make them start fearing us like they did long ago. And while you're at it, make a little bit of coin on the side. Not a bad deal, eh?
Heard you ran into some trouble at Golden Glow.
Yeah, I did. That wood elf's wit. He's a lot smarter than I expected. Can you believe that fetcher had more than tripled the guard? There must have been 8 of them in there. It was like he was daring us to come and get him.
Any tips to get me in there?
Well, there's an old sewer tunnel that dumps into the lake on the northwest side of the island. That's how I slipped in there. Should still be unguarded. These jobs aren't going to finish themselves, you know.
Zega decides that she's going to check that out. But not before she sleeps off the worst of this skooma buzz and hopes that she wakes up in a lot less pain from the surgery she just underwent. She decides to sleep for a couple hours at the cot in the cistern. Unfortunately, a couple hours become 8, and when she wakes up, it's night. Well, all the better, she thinks to herself. This is night's work anyway. She may even want to wait a little longer. Exploring the cistern, she finds this little back room with a pull chain. As soon as the secret door opens, she almost immediately recognizes where she is. This is Riften's graveyard. Interesting way to get into the Thieves Guild. A lot better than taking the front door. She'll have to remember that for the future. She decides to leave Inigo to his own devices here. This type of infiltration is best done with just one person. She knows that. She nods at him, tells him to wait, and makes her way to Golden Glow. But not before waiting a couple of hours for the sun to go down.
Careful. Riften's not the safest place for a nighttime stroll.
You're telling me, buddy. You're telling me. Zega checks her map, decides to take an aquatic approach to Golden Glow Estate, which sits on an island here in the middle of this large lake in the rift. Aquatic approach makes the most sense and will provide her the most cover by night. She's happy to see that there are wildlife traipsing around the island that'll make whatever guards are posted here slightly less skittish, perhaps. Zega realizes in the dark she has very little time to, or very little chance of ever finding a sewer grate underwater. It's almost pitch black. So, she decides to just head for the glow of the windows instead. She sees a door, decides to pick the lock. It's an expert level lock, so it may take me a while to find the sweet spot here. Okay. Just a little nudge. Oh, so close, yet so far. Not quite that far. There we go. No! Lockpicking is definitely something I'd like to work on at some point. Maybe not take any perks in it, but I'd certainly like to be better at it. Oh. Oh. This lock, though. Is it all the way over? No, it's not. Oh, oh my god. Okay. There we go. Zega enters. So I'm sorry if my voice is a little raspy or something today. I'm not feeling well. I've got a little head cold going on, but I'm going out of town for the next couple of days, and I certainly didn't want to leave you guys hanging without an episode for that long. And, well, to be quite frank with you, I didn't want to leave myself hanging either, so decided to suck it up and do it anyway. Zega sees a guard sitting at a desk and decides to cut through this room. Hearing footsteps, she decides to cast a muffle on herself, just to make sure that she's not making as much noise as the dunderheads walking around are. Zega knows that the Thieves Guild prefers that no blood be spilled here today, but she is completely prepared to open a throat if she needs to. Zega makes quick work of the lock. Heads downstairs to the basement. Great, she thinks. There are guards posted down here, too. At least 2 of them, if not 3. Zega sees a fat coin purse on the table and decides she can't help herself. A little extra gold for this job wouldn't hurt anybody. This looks like a place to store deer skins, or... Zega's not sure. Continues moving through the basement.
What was that? Ha! Found you. Hey, don't do that.
She decides to make a new friend rather than kill the man. Head down into the basement. Further. This is what she was after. A chest. She empties it. 3 gold. A safe with an expert lock. This might take some lockpicks to get through. It doesn't. Zega gets it almost on the first try. 108 gold and a golden glow bill of sale. She takes the coin purses off the table. Little something extra for her. She chuckles to herself as she sees the entrance to the Golden Glow sewer. It may not have gotten her in, but tonight it was going to get her out. She wondered if the wood elf that owned this place was smart enough to post guards down here. Surely not, she thought. And it appears she's right. Although she does see some skeevers. Decides to let them be for now. Well. Now that Zega is out, there's still one more thing to take care of. And she's not in the best lighting conditions to do this. She needs to make it to this southern island, where they keep the beehives. Zega wonders how she's going to do that undetected. Casts another muffle on herself. Oops. Let's see. Muffle. Let's get a muffle up here. All that needs to be done is burn 3 beehives to finish the message that no matter what this man does, he's not untouchable to us. Zega knows that the beehives probably be under heavy guard, as he would probably expect the Thieves Guild to try something with them. It's very dark, and Zega is at the mercy of the darkness, just as the guards are. Let's see, loud and clear. Looks like we're heading in the right direction here, at the very least. She doesn't seem to be attracting any attention, moving quietly across the grounds. Sees a bridge. considers herself lucky that there's no one guarding it, and decides to make her way to the island where the beehives are. She knows there are guards close now, but being so close to her objective lets her throw a little caution to the wind. She goes for a spell she hasn't used in a while. A spell called Flames. Burns 1 beehive, 2, and 3, before diving into the lake at a full tilt run. In the darkness in the lake, she looks back at her handiwork and sees the smoldering beehives and the panicked guards. Only one of them even saw her, and he probably won't remember her. But if he does, all the better. Hopefully he reports back to his boss the type of clothes that I was wearing. So Zega decides to travel back to the Thieves Guild. Yes, if the one guard that saw her reports to the boss that I was wearing Thieves Guild apparel, then he'll know. He'll know not to mess with us. I think that's a good idea. Zega presses the button in the Riften Cemetery, heads down into the cistern.
If you need marksman training, and you've got the coin, I'm ready to teach you.
She makes note of the fact that Nirowyn is a marksman trainer. She's been meaning to work on her archery and decides that maybe she should save some gold and pay for him to help her work that. But for now, she needs to talk to Brynjolf. After all, he's got her gold. She thinks he must be sleeping. Decides to wait for a few hours. See if he appears. Any Brynjolf? Anybody got some Brynjolf? No. Well, Zega, tired of waiting for her payment, decides to wake him up anyway. There he is.
Word on the street is Golden Glow's been hit. Good job, lass.
Yes, and here's what was in the safe.
Let me take a look at what you found. Aringoth sold Golden Glow? What's that idiot thinking? He has no idea the extent of Maven's fury when she's been cut out of a deal. But I'm certain he'll find out. If only the parchment had the buyer's name instead of this odd symbol. Any idea what that might be?
No idea.
Blast. Well, I'll check my sources and speak to Mercer. But for now, you're off to speak to Maven Blackbriar. She asked for you by name.
I thought I did the job like you asked.
No. Nothing like that. You're calling on her for business.
What does Maven want from me?
That's between you and Maven, and I prefer to keep it that way. Don't worry about it. Maven's business dealings usually involve quite a bit of gold for her people.
Speaking of which...
Of course, your pay. You're smart as a whip, lass. Keep doing right by us, and there's plenty more where that came from.
So, 300 golds. And now Zega will be meeting Maven Blackbriar, who is the crime boss of Riften, in a way. As she drifts off to sleep, Zega wonders what she'll be doing next. That, of course, is up to you. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and until next time, peace.